heard about. Regrettably, the Supreme Court ruled that against the individuals that were discriminated against, and actually came out with a ruling that the actual individuals who were discriminated in the process were the cake establishment, which was bizarre. But I signed an amicus brief. I'm just trying to see. As you guys know, I serve on the Armed Services Committee, Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and the Agriculture Committee, and I've also been very busy in addressing climate change.
Oh,
there was a bill that was passed called the Marine Economies Protection Act to preclude future offshore oil and gas drilling off all the United States coastlines,
yes,
including California and Alaska. And that included my bill called the California Clean Coast Act, which was my first bill when I first got to Congress. And I've also supported 2 carbon fee and dividend bills that would put a fee and a price on polluters that they would have to pay, and 2 bills. One would actually give the dividend that was collected back to the American people as a tax rebate or a return of their dollars to the American people. And the other one would actually infuse the dividend into our infrastructure, because we're always fighting and coming up with ways to fund our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges. And it's always a struggle. Well, this either do half and half to both, or put it all in infrastructure, or just give it out, return it to the American people. This administration just continues to do everything to undermine the Endangered Species Act, California's ability to impose our own higher standards to ensure that vehicles are putting in technology that reduces emissions to higher standards so that we can protect our public health in California. And this president is doing everything possible to undermine our efforts to protect the environment, address climate change, and protect our public health. But with that, I'll turn it back to you. And I know there's a number of questions that you had that I would love to answer and go over with you as well.
Okay, do you have the list of questions?
I do have them.
Oh, good. I had sent it, so I was hoping that you had it, so you'd have time to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, should I go over?
All right. But the first one is about
Impeachment.
impeachment.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, the first one I mentioned earlier, I believe that we have in the House of Representatives a constitutional responsibility to provide oversight of and pursue any laws that are broken by the executive branch. And for me, it's about the Constitution. So this impeachment inquiry is about providing a fact-finding investigation so the American people could see firsthand what occurred with this administration, what laws have been broken, so that they could understand as we move towards possible impeachment, what the facts are. And if the House reaches impeachment, and the Senate will then bear the pressure and the responsibility to the American people of understanding that they either are going to abide by what's important for our American interests or what's important to their party, Republican Party's interests. The pressure will be on them. So I think we have a responsibility, constitutional responsibility, to investigate the facts and all the wrongdoings of this administration. The next question, what actions are being taken in support of gun control? I mentioned earlier, universal background checks that were passed by the House of Representatives, the assault weapons ban that was introduced by Mr. Cicilline, Representative Cicilline, which I am a co-sponsor of, the Hate Act bill, the ERPL bill that I mentioned earlier, as well as the high capacity magazines ban bill that came out of the Judiciary Committee.
As you can see, we're kind of involved in the justice issues that
Absolutely
are presented in our.
I think it's great. That's all music to my ears. I think we're all in it together.
Yeah.
Why isn't the House investigating Brett Kavanaugh for perjury? I think Representative Nadler and the Judiciary Committee had that responsibility. But I think you could imagine that there was even initially a question of whether we should move forward with an impeachment inquiry. And I think you can only do so much without, as much as it's our responsibility, I think you need to